That's right.
He's bipartisan?
Yes. He's the commander
Okay.
up there.
I think I've seen Mark disappear here, so we should be live at this point. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the committee meetings for Monday, June 8th. And we will start off with Health Services Committee and Chairperson Handel.
Okay, well, I don't see any of the agendas coming up on my screen. However, I know I have none. There's nothing showing up here. Does anybody else see?
Mark,
just-
as you
okay.
see.
There you go.
All right, it just started now. Okay, so all of the health committee members are present.
6:08, is that 6?
Okay. Yes, opening up Health Services Committee meeting at 6:08. All committee members are present. We have no agenda items for this month. Is there anything that anybody would like to discuss? And if not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Rivera?
Davis will second that.
Davis seconds it. We are adjourned.
Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay, Chairman Buelich for County Resources, please.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Linger. I'm calling to order County Resources at 6:09 p.m. We do have one agenda item here. It's appointing member for the Columbia Green Workforce Development Board, a gentleman by the name of, where the heck is he?
Chris Nardone.
There he is, Chris Nardone. Thank you, Sean. He's replacing Maureen Boutine. This is for the college. I need a motion on this.
Rivera.
Luvera, seconded.
Second Overbaugh.
Oh, second, Overbaugh. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. All right, that does it for County Resources. I don't know if anyone has some questions on the college or our youth fair, anything going on that anybody is aware of.
Well, just so, everybody I think knows the youth fair has been canceled for this year. I did send out that, forward that email from President of the Agricultural Society, Alex Junk. So that was some discouraging news, but we certainly understand.
Yep.
And Cornell Cooperative Extension is still doing their remote programming, but they're still functioning through, you might want to say, distance learning. I attended their board meeting last week. So they're trying to do the best they can with their programming.
Okay, good.
This is
Anybody?
David.
Yes,
To give
sir.
you an idea how bad the climate is for fairs, Dutchess County canceled their fair, which is at the end of August.
I saw that also.
Yeah, it's one of the big ones. So that gives you an idea what the climate is like.
Wow.
Right. Thank you, Greg. That's unbelievable because that fair produces some revenue for that county.
Yes.
Crazy times. On the college note, Pat, I don't know if you've spoken with the president, but I believe she'll be attending next board meetings in July with some of their budget situations to inform us of. So we'll see what they have going at the college then in preparation for our budget cycle.
Yep.
But I don't have anything else.
And I
Motion
have
to
not
adjourn.
gotten word from them either on what their graduation is going to look like for this year.
Right, I have not either. So I'll reach out to her once again in the next couple days here and shoot an email to
I
everybody.
did see on their Facebook page, I think their graduation was moved to November, I want to say. And all of the online,
November 28th, which is the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend.
yeah, and all of their classes, I believe, through the summer session are online.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Sean.
Motion to close.
All right, that was Lennon,
Yes.
seconded by
Overbaugh.
Overbaugh. We are closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Software is slow or your unit?
Give me mommy milk.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Public Safety Committee to order at 6:13. Mr. Chairman, all members of the committee are present or in the Zoom call. I have three proposed action items. The first one is authorizing the change of services of Jersen Construction Group LLC for the new Greene County Jail facility. Can I get a motion?
Please.
What was that?
And
I'd like to have an explanation.
Yeah, me too.
This is the value engineering change order on the maintenance building that we haven't done that.
I thought we canceled that building.
This is a adjustment, reducing the price by $185,601.
They reduced it, Sean?
Yes.
This is not an additional reduction. This is the initial, this is a portion of the same reduction that we did in the beginning.
Where's that bring the
Right.
price tag in?
There's no money involved in it.
I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Well, Charlie asked a question. What's the final cost that we're paying for this building?
The cost didn't change from what we approved.
So this is a reduction of what we approved, or?
This is exactly what we approved, actually.
I'm going from memory what the adjusted amount is.
I'm looking here, Sean.
A little over 800,000 or something like that, I want to say. I'm going from memory.
But it says the contract sum will not be changed.
Contract's being reduced. Definitely.
Right, but there's no change in like money's reduced, but this thing here, right within the resolution.
But I see the bills there, or the, whatever it is that, the distribution, allowance distribution documents.
Right, if you look at the allowance distributions, they did not change.
It's saying that this is a date change only, that there's no
Right.
money involved. If you look
No
at the
money.
detail, it's just a date change.
1A changes what's called the substantial completion date from December 28th to January 14th.
Right.
So because they are under contract with penalty clauses, we needed to make this extension So it's a non-dollar amount extension in addition to the 185,000 reduction.
That makes
The
sense.
resolution makes it appear that we're reducing it a further $185,000, and that's not the case. We're not reducing it
No.
further. You already reduced it on March 20th, 2018.
So just under
Correct.
$1 million then, 900 and some thousand, is that correct?
I
I
believe
think
so,
that's
Charlie.
Charlie, I'll have to get that number, Charlie. I don't have it on my
That's
I'm
just-
still not in favor of it, but because anything can be done at this point, Charlie.
Pocket change.
All right, so you have a second.
I had Handel was the second. Who was Dorrington?
A lot of feedback out of the office building.
Aye.
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 Opposed? So carry. The next proposed action items authorizing the expansion of services James H. Malloy Incorporated for the new Greene County Jail facility. Made a motion.
Linger, a second.
I didn't.
Oh, I thought Tommy moved it. I'll move it.
Linger. Can I get a second? I'll second it.
And these are additional stabilization plates that had to be brought in following all the rain for the crane. They had 8 or 10 of them there. They needed 6 more.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carry. The final agenda item is authorizing the expansion of services for Infrastructure Technologies LLC for the new Greene County Jail facility. Can I get a
Martinez.
motion?
Martinez.
Martinez, second.
Handle.
Handel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carry. The only thing I have is everyone should have received the public safety memo from the sheriff. It was sent out in an email. If you didn't receive it, I can make sure it gets emailed to you. Other than that, that's the only business I have before the committee. I get a motion to adjourn.
Martinez.
Tom, I will say that we had a couple of protests here in Greene County this week. All went as planned, very well organized, very respectful on all ends. I don't think that the sheriff reported back any real issues at all. I think voices were heard. And
Yeah, there was no
I just wanna-
incidents. That's why I just.
I
figured-
just want to thank those organizers for doing a great job in what they did for us.
Okay.
Who would you have for a second?
Charlie, you made the motion to adjourn, correct?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Martinez, Handel.
Tommy, sorry, I didn't get the email from the sheriff either.
I didn't either.
It came from Tammy,
Oh, I did.
Matt.
Okay, I'll take a look again. But I also, while for me, this is a matter of public safety again, I feel like these executive orders that are coming out of the state, we need to start pushing back a little bit in our county. Like we did with these bail reforms, the same issue is going on. These looters, I sent an email to Mr. Lawrence today. He had something that he had shared and I piggybacked off that and I sent an email to the chairman and our county administrator asking for a resolution to come forth on government operations next week. Again, pushing back a little bit on these executive orders in terms of our own beliefs. Everybody's protesting around us. Well, I think we need to start protesting some of these executive orders. I'm not saying break the law, as our county attorney had pointed out, but I think we have to protest some of these executive orders, and we have to continue to protest this bail reform. The governor has already taken some of that back. I think more needs to be taken back. This bail reform showed that these violent rioters and protesters and looters, they were able to continue to violently protest and loot after they were arrested and they were released back out because of this bail reform. So I'm going to send something to everybody, and I'd like to get a resolution together for government operations, not only for public safety, but also to get the government running how it's supposed to be. So I'll send that out to everybody after our meeting tonight.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Matt. I know the
Thanks,
last
Matt.
resolution that we did to ask the legislature to take back their powers was heard, and they did introduce a bill in the state legislature, and it did not pass. But we did request that.
Well, I think if we send another one, I mean, I titled it "Let Our People Free" because I feel like we're being held hostage by all these executive orders.
Yeah.
And to me, I'll continue to say I feel a lot of it is unconstitutional, and it's a hypocrisy. When you can't go into and worship in a church, but you can go protest on a street. So I really feel that we as a county need to take a stand, send it to NISAC, and see if we get any traction from it.
I agree, Matt. Thank you.
Sounds good, Matt.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Motion, oh, we are adjourned.
And Chairman Bloomer, your county services will be next when Tammy's ready.
I'm ready when she is.
Sean, you need to unmute yourself.
Ed, they said you're good to go.
All right. County Services opens, let's see, what time is it here? It's 6:25. All County Services Committee members are present. We have two action items. Number one is authorizing agreement with Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging and Home Helpers. I can.
Overbaugh.
Okay, Handel and Overbaugh?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. The second action item is, I'm going to pull that. I had a conversation this afternoon with the Executive Director, Terry McGee Ward, and there was a slight error in the action item, and it will be proposed next month. This is a good program, and but pulling it for tonight. Does anyone else have anything for county services this evening?
Chairman Bloomer, I'd also like to request that maybe at our July meeting, Executive Director Terry McGee Ward join us at our meeting and maybe give us an update on the volunteer situation. I know that a lot of the senior volunteers had volunteering because of the virus. Maybe if she could give us an update on where they stand for that, and maybe do we do a social media push to try to get some more volunteers for the summer months, now that things are opening back up again.
Okay. If you want
Just an
to, Matt, if you want to email me privately on that and get more detail on what you want to hear, I'd be happy to call her up.
Yeah, just an idea about what, if there's still a need for volunteers, and what we can do, maybe social media wise, of pushing that out to try to recruit more volunteers.
Now, when you say volunteers, are you talking like the RSVP program or just in general?
RSVP, driving people for doctor's appointments, Meals on Wheels delivery. I know, myself, I've been doing that every Tuesday, and they're short people.
Oh, I know they are. I get the emails as well as you do. And yeah, I'll ask her. Be happy to.
Yeah. I think that might be a good call to action campaign, by us to start recruiting some help.
Absolutely.
They've been working hard in that department. Legislator Handel, myself and Bueller visited them, and they've really been working hard and intercepting a lot of calls.
Well, I agree with you 100%, Matt. I mean, I did, personally, I did Meals on Wheels for years, and I also did the medical transport, and it's a very pleasant way to spend an afternoon. And it's a very important, big deal for the people that you're driving.
Yeah, I think if we did a little push, it might help them out a little bit.
Be happy to give her a call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Okay.
Who made the motion to adjourn?
Hey, who made the motion, Ed, adjourn and,
Lennon. Yep, I made the motion.
And who seconded it?
I'll second it.
Patty? Handel. Okay. Lennon and Handel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay, Mr. Thornton, you're ready to go.
Hey, thank you. I'd like to open up Public Works with all committee members present at 6:29.
Oh, I didn't. Maybe Becky did. She's looking for a cat. I'm on
There we go.
Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
You muted them.
We set a record.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Go ahead, Jim.
I'd like to ask Bob Van Valkenburg to step forward and do his last and final highway superintendent's report. I also would like to thank him for his time, years of service to the county. Bob, floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you. I remember the first meeting almost as well as this meeting, and it's been quite a ride. You have our written report. I would just mention a couple of things. The quick quote pavements, we have a resolution for that tonight. We're concerned, obviously, about the CHIPS situation. We've gotten no clarity from the state. We don't know how much to count on or how much will be cut. We budgeted for the same number as last year in January. That one side of it is there's some uncertainty. The other side of it is that if we don't get the work bid out and get it going, and everybody else does, we won't get it done. We've run into that before too. So our approach was to put together a quick quote for what we expect to be about half of what we spent last year. We can also add some paving in. We can, if the money allows, we can add to that contract. So we could add a couple more roads in. We got a really good price, better than last year. It's right around $56 a ton, which is a very good price for paving. So we really think we should go forward with it. We already have the Wolf Road Bridge going. That's CHIPS reimbursable. We also have the County Route 31 bridge in design. We'd like to build that this year. So we're going to have to see later on in the year, or Scott's going to have to see later on in the year, how much money is available and how much can be added to paving. There's also a component of motor paving to be done in Halcott too. So there's a lot of moving pieces there, but we think this is a reasonable approach with the paving. And important to get it out and identify the roads we're going to do so the guys can get the pipes changed and all the preparation done. The other one I wanted to mention is the modular scale house for Hunter. The scale house was not included in the original contract. It was always planned to be a modular scale house. We have the specs pretty much put together. We need to put it out to bid. And we want to purchase one for Hunter, and we're going to put a bid alternate in that we would be able to also buy one for Catskill if the numbers are good and if the board's agreeable, and for Cooksaki. The idea with Cooksaki being that if we did the scale house up there when construction time came, the existing office is in the building, so we would be set up to do the demolition and go right from there. The only other thing I was going to mention was that solid waste is still very busy. Our customer count still is up around 30% higher than it was. Volume is down a touch, reflecting that it's residential more than commercial at this point, the increase. But it's really busy, and I can't be prouder of my staff there. They've just done a tremendous job through this whole quarantine thing, and they continue to never missed a beat, and they've done a great job. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Congratulations, Bob.
Congratulations.
Bob, this is Bill Lawrence. Chairman Thornton mentioned something about this being your last meeting. May I ask what's going on?
I'm retiring effective June 30th. I'm sorry, I didn't know you didn't know that, Bill.
I did not know, no. Sorry to lose you.
Thank you.
And I will echo that, Bob, with thank you for your service and your years and expertise.
You know, it's been a life-changing job for me. And it was not the job I thought it was. As it ended up, it was much more intense and much more busy, and so many projects we got involved with, and Irene and recovery after the transfer station fire and all the FEMA reimbursements. Got to work with a lot of great people, and I have to say there was never a day that I didn't want to come to work, and you can't ask for much more than that. So thank you all for your support over the years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Good luck.
Bob, it's Mike. What's the total amount of miles that we plan on paving this year?
Currently on the hot asphalt paving is 4.45.
Okay.
There's a section. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Bob. But why are we so low this year compared to last year?
Because of our concern about how much reimbursement. The way our appropriations work that are reimbursed by CHIPS, there's 5 or 6 of them. The asphalt paving is a big component, and the CHIPS funds 2/3 of those appropriations. So if there was a 20% cut in CHIPS, that would amount to $400,000 out of those appropriations. And we just have gotten no clarity from the state. So we took the approach that better to do some paving. We have the ability to, we could actually almost double that amount of paving, I think, under the quick quote. And it gives us a start, but it also gives us an opportunity to add some later on. And we also have the ability to do more motor paving too. That doesn't include motor paving.
Historically, when have you gotten the approval through CHIPS that you were comfortable historically with funds coming in?
Oh, as soon as the budget got passed. So, middle of April.
Okay.
So we know that it's in the budget. It was passed in the budget, but they do, DOT does what they call a CHIPS run, and which basically everybody gets a copy of it and it tells everybody what they're going to get. And they haven't done that this year. And apparently they've not had approval from the governor to do that yet. So we're concerned, and really we've had no guidance at all on how much they're going to give us. So we thought we had to take some kind of an approach.
Bob.
Okay, so
go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
Yep. So on the quick quote, Bob, so you did leave wiggle room if you get money released from the state through CHIPS that you will be able to get that price still on some additional mileage.
Yes, the vendors are always happy to add mileage in, particularly the way we structured it, because a lot of the paving is on a mountaintop. It's a longer haul. So if we add something on the mountaintop or even add something in the valley, they'll be happy to do that for the same price.
Okay, understood.
And we usually do leave it a little short and add a road in just to be conservative, because you never know exactly how it's going to go. It's always by the ton. But this year we thought we had to be extra conservative. And as I say, the motor paving is something that we can do on a phone call. It's on our county bid, so we can adjust that accordingly. But this has to be out to bid, and there's a process. So we wanted to get this out.
Okay, thank you.
What is during the last, say, 15 years, what's the most that we ever did a year? How many miles?
I think about 18 miles.
18?
We average about 16.
Yeah, all right. I'm just trying to think back, and I remember it was in the high teens one year. So we're down to 4.5 this year right now.
Well, that's just hot asphalt paving, and that's without adding anything in, but
Right.
that's what we could put out, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that's not only applying to CHIPS funding, that's pretty much all of our reimbursements have not been coming through like we normally see them.
Anybody else before we move forward?
I just do want to, just to reiterate, I want to thank you all for what's been a great job for me, a great career. And I love the job. It's always been good. And thank you so much for allowing me to have it.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob, for your years of service and what you've done for the county. And good luck in your retirement, your endeavors, wherever they may bring you.
Well, I'm looking forward to a less stressful environment. But thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
You've earned it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks.
So, Jim, can we have some kind of a discussion about this, this first resolution? I know we have had a lot of talks about the four-day work week as opposed to a 5-day. And you and I spoke earlier and you said that there's some kind of a resolution that Scott had in mind for this. Is Scott on with us or?
Yeah, I believe Scott is on as well with Bob.
Yes.
Okay.
Why don't we read it and get the motion in second, and then it's open for discussion.
Okay. Amending agreement with local 968 AFSCME AFL CIO Council 66 regarding temporary change of work hours and work days.
I'll make the motion.
You want to make a motion?
I'll second that.
You want to
Yeah, I make the
discuss it?
motion.
Okay.
Who was the second?
Keller.
Handle Keller. And you're free to discuss.
I want
Okay.
to know who's going to police this whole thing. We were told years ago that they would check on the time they get to work, the time they leave, go on a job site, the time they come back to the barn or garage or whatever. And we've never received that. And I want to know, and I want to see it in writing, what Scott and Jimmy Wilson and whomever, Jimmy, you also, Thornton, proposed to put forth so we know what the hell's going on. Because I opposed it last year, I opposed it for a couple of years, and we got no results. Nobody brought us up to date on what was happening, if we were getting the right dollar for the buck or whatever, the buck for the dollar. But anywho, this is what I want to know. And before
I agree with Charlie.
Before I vote yes for this, I want to see it in writing.
It is actually in writing in your memorandum of agreement.
Tonight we vote on it or what? Monday night, we have another meeting, we could bring it up. And
I think Charlie's talking about a project list, perhaps. Why is this warranted? That, you know, what work is going to be accomplished during this? Charlie, is that what you mean?
yeah, yes, I do.
That's what I thought.
I think he's also talking about a checks and balance system, correct, Charlie?
Yeah.
That is, right.
I think that's a big question.
Mhm.
That's not in the memorandum of agreement. None of that is.
Right. And where's the difference here, Jim, between this resolution and I know there's a difference in the one that failed last month? What's the difference?
Okay, this one is going to be your mechanics and your sign crew will be working 5 8-hour days. The mechanics, it works better for them because they're dealing with the sheriff's cars and everyone else's vehicles. With our sign crew, they can cover on the Friday to take any trees, whatever, if we have a situation, we don't have to bring the other guys in for overtime that are on the 4 10-hour days. The sign crew will be working 5 8-hour days, and they will cover that other.
And what's the primary work for the 4 10-hour days, the road crew? What's their primary job going to be?
Getting ready for paving,
Highway.
paving the roads. We have a lot of work in Hawkett this year.
Well, we don't pave the roads. So what do you mean getting ready?
Ditching, all your prep work, culvert pipe replacements. I don't think we've been over there in quite a few years. Scott or Bob could help me with that one. But I don't think anything has been done much over there in quite a few years. There's a lot of work to do over there, and it's probably going to be more than just this year to get it all done, financial wise, because of the money we've lost from chips or may lose. I don't know if any one of them want to chime in and have a lot more better detail than I do financial wise.
Jim,
But
if
it's a
I
long
may,
drive from Tannersville to Hawkett every day. I'd rather do it 4 days a week than 5 days a week.
so I just want to address the projects. The work doesn't change. It's the same work that we would have to do on a 5-day schedule. It's the mowing, it's the culvert pipe installation to get ready for for paving. It's the tree work. It's all the different things that we do. The same work applies. Where the efficiency comes from is being able to get out there, set up a work zone and do the work and then work the whole day at it. And the guys have been much more productive at this with the 10-hour days. The other concern we have is that we tend to have a lot of guys take Fridays off if we don't do the 4 10-hour days, which really kind of cripples us. And we have I lost my train of thought, but we really need to, it's much more efficient for people.
Bob, question. Do we have a measurement on this? I mean, what have we measured this up against? I mean,
Well, for example, in an 8-hour day,
we're all saying it's more efficient. Jim's saying it's going to cost more overtime, but have we measured it? I think that's the big question.
sure. Well, it's really more about production. For example, when they're doing crossover pipes, they can usually do 2 in a day. On an 8-hour day, they'll get 3 on a 10-hour day. It lets them stay on the job longer and get more done. Same thing with mowing. They can get more mowing done on a 4 10-hour day.
Got it. Scott, I have a question. We're going to face rain. Could be 2 or 3 days, torrential rains. Do you have a contingency plan for these people, these employees, to do something and not sit in the barn or the garage, whatever you want to call it?
I don't know if that's for Scott or if you want me to answer. You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Whoever. Yeah.
So we encounter rain days throughout the year, and we have more work than we can get done. They can clean vehicles, they can paint plows. There's all kinds of work for them to do. Additionally, if it rains hard enough, then they have to get out and patrol the roads and open up ditches and that kind of thing.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Thank you, Ken.
Hey, Jimmy, Bob, Tommy here. I'm not for this whole thing here, and I'm listening. If there's somebody there 5 days a week, you have everything covered. I don't think it's about productivity, and if it's that important to the membership and the people that do it, they just got done doing a collective bargaining agreement through their union. Why didn't they push to have that put in there for their dues that they pay for everything that they do?
They actually did want it in there, and it was not negotiated in. That was one of their bargaining points.
Can I add something to the conversation? I think we haven't been over to Halkett in 16 years. This is a high priority for us this year. If any years 410s make sense, it's this year. We have roughly 4.5 miles of motor paving work over in Halkett, which requires ditching, crossover pipes. We're gonna lose about 45 minutes just to get to Halkett every day in the morning and come back, 45 minutes to come back. I'm not sure we can really accomplish what we need to accomplish over there on a 8-hour day. It's just not, it's not feasible. We're losing 2 hours every day on commute.
How many guys are you talking about though, Scott?
Well, you'd need both Hunter, because we're so short on people, we would need both Hunter and Ashland over there. That's two buildings, entire crews.
How many people was that?
That is
About 8.
Scott, did you have a plan in place for kind of tracking, you know, when they're coming in, when they're leaving, what's going on? Thought you had come up with some kind of a plan that you wanted to try
yeah.
out?
I mean, to ensure compliance, we have the building supervisors. Of course, they're the foreman of the buildings. They're the front lines. They're the ones that have to ensure that those guys are back or leave the building by 6:30 a.m. and they don't come back until 4 p.m. We'll also conduct random periodic monitoring. That's Jim Wilson or myself would go in to these buildings periodically to check on them, to make sure that they're working those specific hours. And we can also report back to, similar to what public safety does, monthly report on specific work assignments completed during that period.
Right.
Hey, Scott, are the hours negotiated in 7 to 3?
Yeah, the hours are, it's
Monday and Friday.
Yeah, their bargaining agreement, collective bargaining agreement is 7:30 to.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you have people in there that maybe they want to work earlier, if you stagger the guys and you have 8 guys, 4 of them work 6 to 2, the other ones work 7 to 3, well, you're getting a total of 9 hours out of them, and you're adding an hour on the beginning and an hour on the end. You're actually getting 10 hours in the one day just by staggering your crew.
To me, that'd be a lot more vehicles going to hawk it, though.
Well, for me, it's
What
not.
can happen there, Jimmy? I mean, you're going to have machinery. We pay there.
You know, I was originally a no vote on this last time it came up, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about it. I've been talking to Jim, talking to Charlie. It makes sense to me. I know for my staff, it takes a certain amount of time in a day to set up for their job. It takes a certain amount of time at the end of the day for them to break down from their job. I don't think you're getting better work out of them for 5 days if you do 5 days, 8 hours. I also think this is the one department in the county where the morale is so low, things are not going well. Scott is coming in. Now, I'm not saying anything against you, Bob, but it's a new regime now. Scott is coming in. I think we should give Scott a chance to implement this, see how it works out. If not, it's definitely don't bring it to the table next year. But I really think that it would be better on so many levels if we just go with the 4 10-hour days. I think you're going to waste a lot less time than you would if you do the 5 8 hours. If it takes you 2 hours in a day to set up a job and break down, you do 5 days, you're losing 10 hours. You do 4 days, you're only losing 8. It just makes sense to me, which is why I've changed my vote after I've given it a lot of thought.
Bob, how many years have we done this? How many years have we done this, Bob? It's got to be at least 5 or 6, right?
It's 2008.
Okay, so we've done this for
12 years.
12 years. We've never ran into an issue with this, have we?
No, I have to say there's a few guys that, as there is any place, there's a few guys that you always have to watch or stay after, but most of the guys are hardworking. They want to do the job, and they really don't give us any trouble with it.
Yeah, so I'm sort of like Patty. I was a no vote on the first time around, but now after listening to the resolution has been changed and listen to different conversations. yeah, I think it'll be good at the end of the day for the county, so I am changing my vote to a yes.
And somebody
Bob,
mentioned the
Bob, I agree.
available.
I agree 100% with Patty. And normally I would vote no on this, but because of the amount of work that's projected to be done on the mountaintop and, you know, a morale booster and everything else, thank you, Bob, for the great job you've done. But we're under a new regime and possibly that could help with morale. I'm going to stay with my yes on this when it comes to a vote. Thank you.
I still say I want to see it in writing.
I want to see that in some type of form of writing. And when are these employees? When are their breaks during the day? During their work hour day? When are
There's
they allotted break time?
mid-morning and mid-afternoon, and then they have a cleanup period at the end of the day, plus lunch.
Okay. So as
It's
we
not
move
specified.
forward, being Halcott so far away from getting to, why are we not looking at subbing out that work to somebody out that way?
Well, we
we
do
wanna
sub
really
out some of
save
the
money.
work as far as hauling materials over there and that kind of thing. But the ditching and the road prep, that's it's not something we ever thought about doing, really.
Mike, have you ever been out there?
I got to be honest with you. I think I was out there when I was a kid. That's about it.
There's nothing there and nobody there. I'm sorry to say it, but there is not much there.
Still part of Greene County.
You're a long way from nowhere.
Well, my history of visually seeing people who are supposed to be working not working doesn't lend my support to this new resolution. I understand where you're coming from. We're trying to get more work done in 4 days. But the truth is, I think a lot of this stems, and the iration you heard from our employees here was the fact that they didn't have a 3-day weekend. That was voted down. And so what did they decide to do? They decided to just take their days, right? So that's what it was really all about, to be honest with you, from their end. So,
caving in.
just putting it out there.
Well, I will say, if you happen to see it, I think it warrants the phone call to Sean. The building supervisors are the ones that are tasked with making that list and making sure those guys are getting out when they're supposed to.
Well, I did raise that concern multiple times in the last few years.
Yes,
and that's
you
why
did.
I was a no vote previously.
I'm listening to you, Mike. The other thing is you got the Christmas fund at the end of the year where people have their time, and we always say, hey, how come you have to use your time? And now they're going to put their money, you know what I mean, to get paid for their time. So let them use their time.
I think this year in Halkett, we're going to have to spend overtime then. There's going to be a considerable amount of overtime to get that work completed.
The overtime that the county highway workers doesn't amount to that much throughout the year.
But that's my question. That, again, I'll go back to my question to Bob. Has anybody measured that? I mean, you're saying that, but do you have a measurement? You know how much overtime is going to be needed? I mean, by just saying it doesn't do anything. You have to have some kind of a measurement or some kind of data to point to. I mean, that's my hang up on this. And I was concerned about accountability, but I've been assured that you guys are going to come up with a written memo showing us the accountability end. But I still think you need a measurement. You can't just say, well, it's going to be a lot more overtime over in Halcott. Can't do it.
Why are you using Halcott for the scapegoat?
We haven't paved there in 18 years.
Well,
how do we know? Okay, how do you know it's going to be a lot of overtime?
Well, it's a 45-minute commute just to get there.
Yeah,
it is.
So we're losing 2 hours just commuting, and then setup time. We have to set up the operations.
Work zones. You know how that works, Harry, on the thruway. You got to set up safety work zones.
I I don't talk, I recuse from that statement. The throughway.
Don't talk to me.
Seriously.
Okay.
Strike that from the record, please.
Same operation, though.
Could the clerk show that I recuse from that statement, please? Thank you.
Strike it.
Again, I think we need a measurement.
That's correct.
I'm going along with it. I'm going along with it this time. I'm going along with it, but I think we need a measurement, guys. I think you need to put it down. You need to document it. You need to follow it. Thank you very much.
I agree with Harry.
I agree with that also.
I'd like to see it documented.
Okay.
We'll make sure we documentate all the work over there and what we do around here. We'll make sure we get that for you.
Sounds good, but will it be done?
We'll make sure it is, Charlie.
Yeah,
I
right.
will personally make sure.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I haven't seen it for years, and I've been here for a long time.
Give Scott a chance. Scott's
I
just
will.
coming into it. Give him a chance to
I've
do the
only
right
been here
thing.
for a year.
Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome.
Boy, he's puffed up now.
Guys are tough tonight.
He's wearing
So,
purple. Why?
We've got a first and a second on this motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
No.
We got Charlie no, and who's the second no?
I have Mr. Gulich, Mr. Hobart, and Mr. Martinez are no.
that's correct.
That's correct.
Correct.
And I'll need the majority, minority German votes.
I didn't hear you, Sean.
Hey, Jimmy says he's going to need the majority and the minority leaders votes.
Lennon, yes.
Lawrence, yes.
Another 5 minutes you got us into, Lawrence.
Pat?
Sorry about that.
Aye.
Did you get that, Sean?
He's tallying up the votes.
Well, yes, got it. It has it.
And that's, I needed
I needed to include the leadership voting because at my count I had a 3-3 tie.
You had yes from Linger, Lennon, and Lawrence.
Yeah, and then Handel, Keller, and Thornton.
Yeah, correct.
Correct.
It's just a reverse when we put it down last time.
Thank you, sir. Item number two.
Tell you one thing, it better be in writing before Monday night, or I'll pull it from finance. Understand that one?
Understood.
Not sure if it goes through finance, but we'll check on that.
The commander.
Mr. Thornton, you ready to go to number two?
I'm sorry, what's that, Sean?
Are you ready to move on to number two?
I absolutely am. Authorizing Green County Highway Superintendent to bid for number 2 fuel oil and gasoline.
Martinez.
Martinez, Handel.
Martinez, Handel, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Awarding quick quote for pavement contracts under New York State contract.
Martinez.
Buick.
Martinez and Buelich, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Guess I must be on mute.
Opposed? So carried. Authorizing advertisement for bid for module scale house at Hunter Transfer Station. Thornton. Okay. Hobart and Buelich, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Anything else to come up before Public Works?
I hope
No,
not.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion to adjourn.
Chairman Thornton, just before you adjourn, I just wanted to mention about the paving going on Bridge Street, Spring Street, Route 385. Legislator Lennon made a call up to the state regarding going through the bridge approach intersection, so they've extended it going through that intersection. So it's going to be a great stretch of road that the state is paving for us. So that,
Nice.
so Legislator Lennon, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I would. I'd like to thank the New York State Department of Transportation. They worked with us probably over the period of the last 2 years on this project. They stayed to their
I think
word.
even more than that.
They stayed to their word. They assured us it would be done. There was a little delay in the project. They got some more road coming out of approaching the bridge approach from Athens, which was very bad. I was happy to see that's in there. They got up by Sawyer, Chevrolet, and Price Chopper last year. They've done some more work on 23A going up towards Old Kings Road this year. So that whole corridor is going to be brand new, and I'd like to, thank them for making this a priority. And it was an expensive project, and I think they're doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, I think once it's all done, maybe we can send a letter to the state like we did a couple years ago when they paved it near the thruway. They really went above and beyond for this project, so
Nice.
definitely send some thanks up there.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you all. Good job, Harry. Thank you, Matt. Anybody else have anything to come before Public Works before we close?
No other business. I'd recommend a motion for adjournment, Mr. Chairman.
Second that.
Thank you, Charlie, and we will get you your memo in writing.
To
And
all legislators.
we are still pushing for to be able to meet and invite public into a meeting. So if that changes anytime within the next few days, we will certainly let everyone know.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you. I hope we do it next week.
I would agree, Matt. All right, thank you, everyone.
Good luck again. Good luck again, Bob.